Whether you're working at FedEx or Amazon, or you're just trying to find out which place is the best fit. And since I've worked at both, I'm going to compare both of my experiences working there. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will know which is better for you. Let's talk about it. Before we get started, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and bell notification for the latest HE content. I know your time is valuable, so I made sure to put the topics that I'm going to be discussing in the description below. First and foremost, we're going to talk about pay, because I'm sure pay is one of the top deciding factors when considering working at either place. So for me, I can only speak from my experience. So Amazon paid me I think it was roughly $16.30 per hour. But the base pay for Amazon starting off is $15. So because I worked like on weekends or overnights, that's where that extra $1.30 came from. FedEx for me, that's just for me, because what I'm finding out is it seems to be like each location pays differently. So it just depends on what region or what city you're in. What region or what city that you're in determines, I guess, the pay rate for that area. I was getting paid roughly $13 an hour, and this was just part-time. If I worked full-time, during the time that I was working there, they had an extra $1, I think, incentive to work full-time. But I decided to just work part-time, so that was $13 that I was getting paid for FedEx working part-time. Now, if you compare those two, just pay alone, the scale kind of weighs over to Amazon. So we'll give a check mark to Amazon for that. As far as benefits are concerned, I really cannot tell you because I'm not really big on benefits. I know both jobs offer benefits. So Amazon's supposed to have good benefits, and they have an option of different health insurance providers that you can choose from. FedEx, from what I've heard at the time, did have good health benefits as well, good benefits overall. So I'm just gonna say that's a tie. So scheduling, I think that's important. So with Amazon, they have multiple schedules, really with both Amazon and FedEx, with the warehouse and positions that they start you off in. They have flexible schedules, multiple days, multiple types of shifts that you can choose from depending on what's available at that time in your area. So that's a plus for both. So Amazon started me off full-time seasonal, and FedEx started me off part-time seasonal, which I had the option to go full-time seasonal, but at the time I was doing both Amazon and just starting with FedEx, so I didn't want to do two full-time jobs. And so I did part-time FedEx seasonal, and I did full-time Amazon seasonal. Now, with that being said, I was working like 12-hour shifts at Amazon, and I was working 5-hour shifts at FedEx. And you put both of those together, that's 17 hours of straight warehouse work out of a 24-hour day, which is a lot for anybody, right? But I was doing it. Comparing the two, I would say for scheduling, because both of them are flexible, both of them have different days, different shifts, I would say both of them would be even. You just got to consider what shifts work best for you and also what shifts are actually available in your area. So another thing would be taking time off. For me, I always need to know what my options are when it comes down to taking time off, because I know I ain't trying to be there every day, every time I'm scheduled to work. So with Amazon, you pretty much just go on their platform, their employee platform, I guess. It's called A to Z. You just go to the A to Z. You can just take off from there depending on whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to use your paid time, or you're trying to use your unpaid time. What I liked about Amazon was you automatically have paid time coming in, and you have a certain amount of hours of paid time, you have a certain amount of hours of unpaid time, and you have options as far as taking off for other reasons, whether it's like health reasons or emergencies or things like that. I like the fact that you don't have to contact your manager, call the location and say, hey, I need to take off. And, the typical type of structure, which would be that. And you got to talk to them, got to act like you sick, or you got to act like you sad, all that stuff, because you got to sell them on the fact that you got to take off that day, or you got a emergency just happened, or whatever the case is. I love the fact that you don't have to do none of that with Amazon. You just go to your A to Z and your A to Z Amazon platform, and you just put your days off, and you're done. As long as you have some hours, whether it's paid or unpaid, then they're not going to trip on you. They're just going to take those hours off of your available hours, and then you just come back the next day and go to work. With FedEx, they told us when we started that all you got to do is call in and leave a message and tell them that, if you're running late, tell them you're stuck in traffic. They really stress that you have to at least call. And if you don't call, no show, then that could lead to you being fired at FedEx. But I do like the fact that they were a little flexible as far as saying, okay, just call, just let us know. You can make up anything. We're not going to care. We just need you to call and let us know. Leave a message. And 9 times out of 10, you won't talk to anybody personally. You'll just talk to an answer machine or whatever the case is, and you just leave that message, and then you're done. I don't think I had paid time, or I don't think I had unpaid time. I think it was just call in if you can't make it. And that was the FedEx. From my experience, that was how FedEx did their taking time off. So with all that being said, I would give the edge to Amazon, only because of the fact that you don't have to really call in at all, and they give you a certain amount of hours that you can use per season. Because every season you might, if you're working full-time or part-time, you get they add to your hours. They'll add, a couple of hours, every season, every quarter. So every 3 months, whether it's paid or unpaid, you'll get some extra time added to your time, your overall time that you have left for taking off. Now, as far as work conditions, Amazon has a controlled climate facility, at least the one I was working in. Controlled climate, so that means if it's hot or cold outside, it's still going to be a certain temperature inside, no matter what. FedEx, on the other hand, has, in my opinion, uncontrolled climate. So, I guess saying that to say that basically, if it's hot outside, it may be a little hot inside. If it's cold outside, it may be a little cold inside. Work condition wise, as far as the climate is concerned, I would give the edge to Amazon for that. As far as other conditions and requirements, FedEx and Amazon do not allow you to carry your phones on the floor. So for both companies, you have to leave your phone either in your locker or in your car before you step onto the floor. So that's the tie, in my opinion. Of course, it's a tie. No way to get around that. Now, some people do try to sneak their phones inside, which I think I probably did it on an accident a couple times. So that's just the risk that you will take. But just for general guidelines, like you don't supposed to have your phone on the floor at either facility. As far as the culture of the facility, as far as the vibe that I would get when I worked at each facility, I would say that it's a tie between both facilities, because when I worked at both facilities, I feel like, I can't speak for every manager, but I feel like most other managers were okay. I feel like they weren't too overbearing. They gave you a little leeway as far as not micromanaging so much. For me, on both sides, I feel like they allowed me to even move around, because I don't like to sit in one spot. I don't like to be in one spot too long. And with warehouse jobs, if you're working 8, 10, 12-hour shifts, even 4 hours straight doing the same thing over and over and over, it can get kind of like redundant. It can get kind of boring. So I feel like they allowed me to move around once they found out that, I didn't really care to be at certain places. Anyway, I think they were flexible. I think both facilities were flexible considering, these are like high demand, fast paced, like you got to get things out at certain times, so there are some things that they have to push because they're overseeing this particular department. And so, they have their quotas. They have their, things that they got to get done before this shift is over with. So considering all of that, I think they managed people well enough. Now, I have heard otherwise, and not to say every day working at either facility was the best days as far as dealing with managers and dealing with people. But, I'm just trying to look at the overall warehouse experience. Now, if you're one of those type of people that have a plan to get into these facilities, whether it's FedEx or Amazon, and work your way up the ladder and kind of build a career out of it, then I would probably give a slight edge to Amazon, only because from the warehouse side of it, Amazon's facilities are huge. And so because it's a big facility, I think I worked at the largest one, or one of the largest ones in the country as far as fulfillment centers. So, because it's so huge, they have many departments, they have many positions outside of just whatever your title is starting off. So I feel like that gives you more opportunity to, advance, get promoted, go climb that ladder that you may be trying to climb to get to where you're trying to be. Now versus FedEx, the warehouse that I worked at, which was FedEx Ground, the warehouse I worked in was smaller. It was big, but it was smaller than Amazon's warehouse. And, I noticed like there were probably a handful of departments, because even though it was a nice size facility, they pretty much were doing the same thing. You got outbound, inbound, you got dock, you got, handlers, you handling the packages, and they pretty much doing the same thing throughout the whole facility. So because of that, I give a slight edge to Amazon, because I don't think you can advance. I don't think it's as many positions in that particular warehouse that I work that, based off, compared to the number of people working in that facility, that will give you a higher probability of advancing in FedEx. Now, not to say that you can't apply, or even advance at that particular location. I'm just saying that you have a higher probability, I think, of advancing at Amazon because of that particular reason. Now, I'm not sure if I covered all of the topics that may need to be covered when comparing both companies. If there's something I missed, or you want to just share your experience working at either facility or either company, definitely comment below and let's start a conversation, because what I found out since I've started making these videos about FedEx and Amazon is, especially with FedEx, that they actually, pay differently based off where you stay. So definitely leave a comment below and let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's just bring all the things that I just discussed into one question. Which is better? Let's hit the drum roll. I can't do a drum roll. So I would say I would give it a slight edge. When I say slight, I mean a slight edge, because every person will have their own experience, and it's the exact same thing that I experienced. Someone else may take that and have a different opinion on it. So I can only speak for me, and I would give a slight edge to Amazon. Amazon is still growing. Amazon is still expanding out into so many industries, and I think they're just going to continue to grow, continue to dominate, continue to put their hands into every aspect of our lives. So for that reason, and the experience that I had with both FedEx and Amazon, I would give a slight edge to Amazon. FedEx is a good company. I'm not a fan of the labor. Like, warehouse labor is repetitive. It's continuous. It's standing up the whole time. It's not hard labor, but it's just, it can weigh on your body, over time. So I'm not a fan of it, and I like to just move around. I don't like to be in one place. With FedEx, with warehouse jobs, you have to, a lot of times you just in one place. You just in one spot doing the same thing for the whole time you're there. So somebody may take that experience and say, wow, this is the best job I've had so far. And so I may look at it in a whole nother way, which I'm just telling you kind of how I have looked at it. So every experience is different. I would say test it out yourself. Like I said, I give a slight edge to Amazon. But if pay is better at FedEx where you live, then you might want to check out FedEx. I worked at both, so FedEx is okay. Amazon is okay. It just depends on which path you want to take. You want to take the Amazon road, or you want to take the FedEx road. What's your goals? What you're trying to do? If you're just trying to stack some money for a short period of time, then figure out which job, which company is paying the most. Figure out which job or which company has the best schedule for you. Has a schedule that's going to fit around your lifestyle. So, those are things you got to consider. Like I said, I'm just giving you my opinion. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of He Talks. And as I always say, I am he, Heinz Enterprise.
Wow, that's amazing.